Okay, so there are questions in life and as humans that you may ask that probably will never get an answer. And there are also some answers to questions that you couldn't even fathom asking. I would say today's About a Boom and About a Bing is one of those questions. And the question is, how does somebody melt into a couch for 12 years? Like, I know there are like phenomenons in the world, things that the human brain can't even explain. But before we check out Stephanie telling us the story, this is something that probably would have never even crossed my mind, let alone even thinking that that's possible to happen. And, knowing that I'm learning new things about literally humans, I learn about a lot of terrifying, interesting, or just downright type just explanations. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much what I'm saying today is we have an About a Boom and About a Bing, and this title is Woman Melted into the Couch for 12 Years, the tragic case of Lacey Fletcher. I again, I can't fathom this even being a thing, and we're going to find out. Rest in peace to Miss Lacey Fletcher. And I would say, let's see what happened. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the host of this show are for authentic, honest, and entertaining purposes. Unless you don't think I'm entertaining. I repeat, this is my opinion. I am not telling you how or what to think or feel, but I do encourage you to speak your mind and have conversations. Just don't do too much. Also, this video is brought to you by Sebastine's Patreon, where you can access over 1,000 videos of exclusive content. If you want to subscribe and support this amazing community, click the link in the description below, and thank you for everything. Enjoy the video.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Lacey Fletcher could probably hear them packing for their New Year's trip.
Okay.
They're going to celebrate ringing in 2022 by going out of town and leaving Lacey to rot by herself. It's hard to say if Lacey felt relief in that.
Wait. Oh my gosh. I thought she was going to be left home to just do stuff at home by herself. What the heck?
Moment knowing that they're going to be gone, or if she felt fear, because what if they don't leave her food? Would she just starve to death? What if they didn't leave her water? You can go longer without food but not water, right? Just a few days. What if they don't even come back? What would happen to her then? All she could really do in that moment is sit in that chair and watch them leave. I mean, what other choice does she have? She's trapped. Unable to leave her prison, unable to see the sun. Lacey can't walk outside. She can't talk to her friends anymore, go to school. She's not even able to walk into the kitchen to grab food whenever her stomach rumbles.
Oh my gosh.
We don't know if she even knew what day it was, or if she could hear the New Year's Eve fireworks. Would she work it out from the fireworks that it's 2022 now? Or would the loud noises just terrify her? We don't know any of this for certain. We just know that Lacey Fletcher was a prisoner of the couch. She had been left there, hungry, covered in feces, naked.
Whoa, oh my gosh, wait. What the? Yo.
Unable to eat unless one of them decided to bring her food. Her body was dying while she was still alive.
Why is she covered in poo? Why is she covered in poo?
There were parts of her flesh that were rotting. There were maggots crawling in and out of her hair, in and out of her bones, munching down at her dead flesh, and she's still alive. If she looked down, there would have been certain parts of her body where she could see straight through her skin, her tissue, her muscle, and see her bones.
Oh my gosh, bro, how did... Obviously, that has to be one of the most terrifying experiences. The fact that the human body can still stay alive when it's in this type of state, and also like I get flashbacks to the Junko Furuta case and that, oh my gosh, bro.
There were giant
like this, like you're like literally like a prisoner of your own immune system. Like, why did they do that to her?
Holes all over the lower half of her body.
What the fuck?
She was completely covered in feces. There was feces in her stomach,
Ew,
inside her
yo, what
stomach,
the
in
fuck?
her mouth, and even her ears. She had been trapped on this couch for the past 12 years of her life. By the time that she was found, she had melted through the couch into a hole, and her skin was fusing with the brown leather.
What the fuck?
The only
Yo.
contents found in her stomach would be sofa cushion foam and feces. Did she eat it out of desperation?
Probably.
Was she fed it? We don't know. The worst part is, we're still unclear why any of this happened.
What?
There are theories that range from locked-in syndrome, where someone is fully conscious but unable to move their bodies, trapped inside their own minds. There are theories of full-blown torture, with Lacey being a victim for someone's sick, sadistic pleasure for over a decade.
I mean, I would go with that one. Why is she covered in poop? Like, why is it in her ears and like who did this?
There are a lot of wild theories, but we have no definitive answers.
What do you mean?
All we know is Lacey Fletcher would die in one of the worst, slow, torturous deaths imaginable, and nobody helped her.
Like, what could possibly? Who the fuck did this, bro? And how is this a mystery? Like, huh? Like, I just can't. Like I said before in the beginning of the video, I just can't even fathom something like this happening. This is horrifying, and then we are only 3 minutes in this shit.
Always, full show notes are available at rottenanglepodcast.com. One of our wonderful researchers that worked on this case is...
First off, sorry, Stephanie. How do you even find these? Like, I gotta do research. You know what I'm saying? But yo, what?
She's autistic, and she was instrumental in the process of gathering data for this case. She's also provided us with links to autism resource pages that will be in the show notes. Now, with that being said, as with all cases, please let us know if you have any thoughts or any additional details about the case down in the comments.
Okay,
and
I
with
got
that,
thoughts.
let's get started. There's a very rare condition out there. It's
Okay.
called locked-in syndrome. Less than 1,000 people in the United States have it at any given point. Most sufferers are victims of a stroke or a traumatic brain injury. And even though it's a very, very rare condition, it seems to be a big fear for a ton of people. I mean, maybe it's the nature of the condition. Maybe it's because of the natural human fear of not being able to communicate with one another. It's terrifying. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
exactly how you picture it. Locked-in syndrome. You're awake. Your mind is flowing. It's going a million miles an hour. If you're lucky, you can open your eyes and look around. See what's around you. But really only as much as you can move your pupils. That's it.
Bro,
When you
that-
try to talk, nothing moves.
Okay, that is very terrifying. Yeah, you are correct, Stephanie.
You can't push out the words. It's like when you're in a dream and you're trying to scream for help, but no words come out and you start getting so flustered and frustrated with yourself, but you wake up and you realize that's just a nightmare.
Wow.
This is locked-in syndrome. You can't even move a single finger. You can't even swallow your own saliva.
What?
And soon drool is going to be seeping out of your mouth while doctors and loved ones look at you concerned, worried, because they don't know how this happened.
You're not gonna wipe their mouth? Like, why are y'all just staring? What?
You're trying to give them a sign of, hey, I can see you, I can hear you, I'm here. But there's nothing that you can move. Your body is locked, and you are locked in your brain. 90% of people die within the first 4 months that they're locked in.
4
And a lot of doctors can figure out that they're locked in, but can't find a way to get them out. One survivor of locked-in syndrome stated, "My cognitive capabilities were 100%. I could think and hear and listen to people, but I couldn't speak or move. The doctors would just stand there at the foot of my hospital bed and talk like I'm not in the room, and I just wanted to scream like, hey, people, I'm still here."
Nah, bro, that's some terrifying shit, bro. Nah. Every day I learn something new. Nah, that is okay. That is terrifying.
But there was no way for me to let them know. He remembered hearing the doctors tell his family in the room that he had a 2% chance of survival. And even if he did survive, he would be completely comatose.
Oh.
He remembers hearing the conversation and seeing his wife break down and beg the doctors to not turn off his life support machines. And he was just screaming, "No, I'm right here. Don't turn it off. I'm right here." But nobody could hear him. He couldn't move his lips. He couldn't move his mouth. Another survivor said, "I could do nothing except listen, and I could only see the direct area in front of me based on how the nurses would position me in bed."
Bro, imagine if there some people are talking shit about you while you can't do this. Like, oh.
So if they flipped me over to the left, I could only see that point of the room. He reported that he could feel every jolt and twinge of pain. He could even feel itchiness. You know, you have that itch in your back.
And he can't move.
He said it was miserable. He's in constant pain, but he's completely at the mercy of his doctors for pain meds. And this is a miserable way to live, but there's no choice. You don't have the choice of exiting your life or telling someone, "Hey, I can't do this." He said, "I couldn't tell anyone if my mouth was dry, if I was hungry, if I had an itch that needed to be scratched. I felt disgusting all the time. I was constantly drenched in sweat. My skin was so sensitive to minor sensory changes, it felt like it was burning all the time. It felt like it was on fire."
Oh my goodness.
He was in constant pain. He was afraid of dying, and that's all he could think about all day. But worse than that, he was afraid of being trapped inside of his body forever. All he could do was talk to himself. He said he had to create another voice to talk to himself. 2 voices. He could calm himself down. He would say things like, "How are you doing, Jake? Not too bad, just waiting on my meds. It's coming soon. Don't freak out, Jake. You're going to be okay." When Jake wasn't talking to himself, he was talking to the nurses. They just didn't know it. They would ask him, "Hey, Jake, can you hear us?"
Yeah.
And he would be screaming at the top of his lungs, "I can hear you. I'm right here." But nobody could hear him. And the highlights of his day was when nurses would come in and talk to him, even though they had no clue that he was, quote, in there. The ones who sang to him were his favorite.
Aw.
While they would flip him over, they would sing to him. But most of the days, he would just lay there in a completely empty room, unable to move. Sometimes his family and loved ones would come over into the hospital room and they would just scream at each other about what they were going to do with him, fighting about him.
In front of him, like, yo, do y'all not have no couth? Like, what?
As if he's not right there listening to all of this.
Fuck?
That's terrifying.
Yeah, yo.
And there's no way of these people. There's no medical equipment that can detect that.
I think right now, eye fluttering is the quickest way that doctors will detect it. It still takes about a few days for them to even find out that you're locked in. Yeah, so most of these people, these survivors, they said it took multiple days for the doctors to be like, "Oh my gosh, I think he's blinking. Like, please blink twice if you can understand what I'm saying right now."
Man, God forbid you're in one of those hospitals where the nurses and people is mean and everybody just mean to you. I'm glad yo had some entertainment, like singing nurses. Oh, I can't help but think about like the worst of the worst type of.
I mean, I can only imagine there must be so many who couldn't control their eye movements either. So we don't know just how many of people have passed while they've been locked in. We're not sure. And once they're locked in, they remember everything.
Oh, shit.
These survivors, they remember everything in detail and they were corroborating it with the nurses and doctors. So it's not just like hallucinations that they had.
Right.
These are real events. They're completely conscious. There is a device right now, I think, that they're working on where it can try to communicate with you through your brain. Listen,
That's what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many like brain scans. They can check like what area is moving and stuff.
I imagine it's very expensive.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
bet.
There was a man in France who wrote a whole book just by blinking one eye.
Excuse me? Hey, some humans are superheroes, bro. What did you just say to me?
To someone who was transcribing it. And then he
Oh
passed
my-
almost immediately after it was published.
What?
Jake said other times he was so bored, he would just count to 1,000 and then start all over again.
Holy shit.
1 to 1,000. It was absolute hell. He felt like he was being tortured. He always wanted to know, what time is it? What day is it? How long has it been? But he can't even ask anyone. And then there's just so many depressing thoughts in his mind. There were days where all he thought about the entire day was his own funeral. who's going to
Damn.
show up, what it's going to look like, who's going to say what. For Marsh, the other survivor, he said he was really lucky. His wife and children were there all day, but even that was just lonely. He said, during the day, I was lucky. I never spent a single day when my wife and one of my kids wasn't there. But once they left, it's lonely, not in the way of missing people, but loneliness of knowing there's no one who really understands how to even communicate with you.
Yeah.
Marsh and Jake were two of the lucky ones. There were rumors last year in 2020 that a young woman in Louisiana was not as lucky.
Hey, bro. Before we get like into this video, son, or into this story, like to think of something called locked-in syndrome that you've never really heard before. I'm talking about me. Like I'm just imagining like what type of other syndromes or diseases or I don't really know the name of it that nobody even knows about. Like the closest thing that I can like think of that nobody like fully knows about for real is like CTE or something like that. And it's like people can't even definitively tell if somebody has CTE when they're alive. It just happens. They find out when they're dead. How the fuck? Oh my god!
That she had been locked in her own brain for the past 12 years.
12
and all she could
years.
do was sit on the couch and stare at the wall until she passed. So in 2022, this story goes crazy. It's a horrifying story that's coming out, but it was made even more terrifying by the fact that that woman probably didn't even have locked-in syndrome.
What do you mean?
So what does that mean? Why would someone sit there on the couch for 12 years? She's able-bodied. Why didn't she get up?
Oh, so she's not chained
No.
or trapped?
No.
We don't know.
So she's not.
So that means if she's not locked in, there is something worse, more sinister that made her unable to move from the couch for the past 12 years of her life.
And also, how does she get poo in her ears? Like,
Slaughter, Louisiana has a population of less than 1,000 people, but it does have
Slaughter?
a very
Oh my
interesting
goodness.
name. They were briefly
Yeah.
part of a small internet discourse because of their unfortunate police department name, the Slaughter Police. Yeah, so not great from a marketing standpoint. And there
you could literally call it something else. Or no, like you have to have the name. Yo, somebody just gotta change that name, bro.
was this question of, why the hell is there a town named Slaughter anyway?
No, for real.
There were some rumors that the area had some of the first slaughterhouses in Louisiana, or that something very ominous happened there, giving it the name Slaughter, Louisiana. But it's actually just named after the original owners of the land,
Are you fucking
Mr.
serious?
Will and Joe Slaughter. But it's a very, very, very small town. Less than 1,000 people, about 800 people. And it's the type of place where you don't have to leave the town for anything.
Really?
There are schools, 2 churches, pharmacy, food marts, small businesses that sell farming goods, a rehab facility, short and long-term care for the elderly. And even though it's the definition of rural, the houses are super spread out so you can have as much privacy as your heart desires. Slaughter has that small town comfort where you're like, okay, my dog is missing. Guess what? Likely all 800 residents are going to come out and help you search for your dog until they're back home.
That like catch-22 of like having a a small town, and then it's all good, it's all fun and dandy until something happens and everybody knows. Like it's like everybody knows what's going on, but everybody knows what's going on. Like it's just like, I mean, but yeah, I do got some privacy, but don't let a rumor get out. Everybody know your business.
It's just one of those towns. I mean, they even have like a small government with residents
So-
voted in as what they call aldermen. And these aldermen will help vote on issues affecting the community. So the aldermen, they're supposed to be approachable figures of community that you can turn to for literally anything. Like if you have a disabled family member and you think there needs to be better accessibility at some part of the town, you go to the alderman. If you think your job that has nothing to do with the government requires better sexual harassment policies, like you work at a fast food chain, you're like, you go to the alderman.
Okay.
Even if you have a deeply personal issue where maybe you have an anxious relative who won't leave the house and is becoming reclusive and is not socializing with anyone, you go to the alderman.
What's the efficiency rate of this alderman though? Because I'd imagine all these things that they gotta fix, I hope there's like good efficiency in slaughter aldermen.
They literally went to the
Slaughterman.
alderman for anything. Sheila was probably the best alderman to go to. She was also the vice mayor of the town,
Well, she
literally
seemed
was
fun.
voted into that position. So if the mayor couldn't attend a meeting, Sheila would show up in place of the mayor. Her husband, Clay, was also well known in the
Okay.
community. He worked for a nonprofit called the Baton Rouge Civil War Roundtable. They would
Yeah,
organize
LSU
events
family.
and field trips to historic sites to, quote, provide nonpartisan atmosphere to foster learning and respect for our Civil War heritage. It's a lot. You know, there's a lot of red flags, and some of the members joining the official Facebook group would post, quote, non-judgmental pictures of the KKK.
You know what? Again, like I said, it's always something. It's always something. It's always something. Always. But this something is a little bit more than a something.
And make racist jokes about the Obamas.
All right, bro.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like Clay was the one personally posting those or endorsing that kind of activity, but just to give you preface. Now, Clay and Sheila, they're the
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, cuz if that shit on a Facebook page that I gotta run and y'all over there calling the Obamas whatever racist name, because I remember when they were being racist towards the Obamas, bro. I remember that. The news let people know that they was, man, don't put that shit on my Facebook page. The fuck?
go-tos for the community. Anyone's got a problem, you go to Clay or you go to Sheila.
Okay.
They're churchgoers. They've got the mindset of wanting to help others. They would probably help you first with your oxygen mask on a plane before putting their own on. Always asking, how's your day? How's your sick grandma? Well, if your grandma needs anything, just give us a ring. We're right down the street. But who asks how Sheila and Clay are? Robert Blade Sr. asked. He lives across the street from them, and he remembered the couple having a young daughter. And he hadn't seen her in I mean, God knows how long, right? Over a decade for sure. Maybe like 15 years ago. Last he saw of her, she was exercising down the street, running around with some dumbbells in her arms.
Oh.
I mean, she did that a lot. And then she stopped one day. He just kind of assumed, like all the other kids in the neighborhood, though, she got into college, moved into the city, met a boy, got married, started a new life, and then never found the time to visit small old town Slaughter ever again. Right? Or maybe she did, and he always missed her.
I don't know. She just looked like a young woman. She was, she had these little, what do you call the little weights that you hold in your hand?
Yeah.
The little dumbbells.
Dog chilling in the back.
Yes, she'd walk from her house around the circle, and she used to do that, you know,
Huh.
I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week.
So one day, this daughter would have been about 30 years old at this point. Robert was on his front lawn talking to Clay about, things going on in the neighborhood. And he thought to ask, oh yeah, Clay,
Where your daughter,
how's
bro?
Lacey? How's she doing? What's she up to now? Moved away? Oh, no, she's still here. She still lives here. She's fine. Clay quickly changed the subject. At that
Clay. Hey man, I'm not the most keen on finding out something weird yet. But I was not born yesterday. Clay, what do you mean that she fine? What's she doing? What does fine mean? She not running up and down this zone with them dumbbells no more. Hold on. Hey, you are alderman, so you don't have no leeway to do nothing crazy.
moment, it was very likely that Lacey was unable to walk, fused to the couch, trapped.
I ain't gonna lie. Like that complete jump. That's oh my gosh.
And death has a smell. When the body starts to break down and decompose, there are over 800 chemicals that react with the air and with each other, and it creates a very distinct scent. And we always hear about it in cases. The investigators could smell death, that it's a scent that once you smell it, you can never forget it.
I understand that, but I did not know it was 800 chemicals. That has to smell like how coloring every color in like a pile to where it turns like a nasty brownish, grayish, blackish. Like that has to smell like how that looks. Have y'all ever like combined all the colors at once, and it just looks like it's just something about that. Or maybe it's just the smell. Like if you use like rose art crayons, because rose art crayons got like a specific smell to it.
And to a degree, I feel like we can all kind of imagine what it's like. I'm sure it's not a pleasant scent, but people actually say it's more than that. It's really distinct. It's not just the worst scent that you've ever experienced. There's so much more to it. Death has a sickly sweet scent. So underneath the smell of fecal matter, waste, decay, like you would imagine a piece of raw steak left outside in hot, humid cabin air would smell like after 3 months in the summer. It's like that, but underneath it, there are almost these sweet notes. Everyone describes it differently. I went down a lot of forums with a lot of coroners and crime scene investigators, crime scene cleanup crews. Some describe it as a thick, it's almost like it hangs in the air, like this thick honey scent underlying this rotten meat, garlicky fecal matter scent. It's like honey, but you want to throw up. Others say no, it's almost a little floral. Like, you know, when you are around flowers that have a very unique scent and you almost want to gag, kind of like that.
Oh my goodness. Like, imagine coming home smelling like that if you like a coroner and stuff like. Well, I would hope not. I don't know what coroner outfits are, but I had a uniform at Noodles and Company, and I kept smelling like noodles when I came home. Every day. So I would imagine something as bold as the smell of death you would come home smelling like that. Oh.
Some say, actually, it's that almondiness. It's that sweet, almost kind of nuttiness. And then there's that overpowering, fishy, even sour scent that overtakes it all.
Yeah, that's a nasty combination. I don't like that combination. I don't like that
One
combination.
Redditor, an EMT, describes it as, it smells like if you left cheese out in the hot sun for a week and then you put it into a stale sweet tea, iced tea mix. And then you just let it sit in that mix, hot, iced, sweet tea mix for another week. And then you smell it.
What the fuck?
It's actually even thought that humans and other animals evolved disgust for the scent. So the main underlying scent is called putrescine, and it's a chemical compound associated with decomposing bodies. And apparently humans evolved into being so literally primitively disgusted by it because it protects us from disease and predation from scavengers. Studies go even further to suggest that it triggers a fight or flight response in humans. Just the smell of a dead body, even if you don't know it's the smell of a dead body, you smell it way out in the woods, you have a fight or flight response. That's what some people believe. And there is a company out there that just recreates the scent of human death.
Why?
That's their whole business model.
Why?
The scent of human remains, and they sell a formulated version of it. And to put it simply, they bottle up the scent of human death and sell it.
Y'all selling it to scientists or somebody? You better not be selling, but I better not find none of y'all buying no damn death smell, a jar of death smell. That you don't need that. You don't need that. Like there's a lot of things in this world that you don't need. You don't need that. Like, imagine how much that shit would cost. That would have to cost a lot of money. I'd be damned if that shit was like $15. Like, that's actually no. Like a forbidden stench. Like, that's actually forbidden.
The website describes it as, quote, represents odor of 2 140-pound cadavers for the low cost of $850.
Okay. It's pretty expensive. So hopefully that deters the people who want that. But I know people that have it will probably buy that. Again, you don't need that shit. There's a bunch of stuff that you can buy with $850 and not, you know, that's like a car note and insurance if probably not. How much is my insurance? I don't know how much that is. How much is my insurance this month? I don't know. I'm 26 now, so.
And it's not for any weird, sinister reason. Well, hopefully that's not why most people are buying it.
It's
mainly used by cadaver dog trainers so that they don't have to use real human remains to train cadaver dogs to find dead bodies.
Okay, it has a use for it. All right, respect. That sounds like that could be a write-off on your taxes because you would need that, right? And that's like a business type thing. I don't know.
But there's actually a lot of cadaver dog trainers that don't like to use these scents. They'd rather go to a body farm and purchase body parts.
What?
Because they argue it's just not the same. Like, you try to replicate it with the chemicals that is created from decomposing bodies, but it's so difficult to replicate the smell of death precisely. It is such a unique scent. I mean, there's so many varying factors. The scent depends on the person that died, the surrounding conditions. Is there wildlife where the body is? The temperature, the humidity. They said humidity is the worst on a dead body. And Slaughter, Louisiana was a humid, hot town.
Oh,
I'm not
gosh.
sure how much Dr. Brickham knew when he drove up to the little White House on January 3rd, 2022. I wonder if the neighbors' Christmas trees and all the New Year's decorations were still up, making the drive feel, I don't know, even more eerie. Right?
And also, if these are aldermans, wouldn't whoever, because I would still imagine like people would go to the aldermans for anything and everything. So you mean to tell me she was in this state for 12 years and nobody knew? Like they didn't have anybody over the house or anything. They was just aldermans and had nobody come over. Right? That's what's going on.
Right. But once he parked that car, he gets out, he walks past the well-manicured green lawn, he opens up the front door, and it's like he's hit with this invisible force field.
Oh, hell
It's
no.
a smell. He couldn't breathe, he said. He said there was a stench, an odor, feces, fecal matter, urine. You couldn't hold your breath. Dr. Brickham had smelled death before, but this smell, it's literally embedded into the fabric of the house. That's how thick and pungent it is. It felt like the scent was going to follow him home and linger for weeks.
Where are the people that live
Dr.
in this?
Brickham enters the living room, and you know when you spot something that just feels out of place?
Yeah.
It makes you feel very unsettled. Like you can't quite put your finger on it, but it just feels weird.
Right.
Imagine it's snowing outside, and there's someone standing there out in the snow, staring at your house with nothing but their swimwear on.
Oh, like some uncanny valley type shit. Oh.
And you're just looking out the window like, I feel like this is odd. Like, yes, I'm worried that they're going to get sick, but there feels like there needs to be a sinister explanation for this because it's just that out of place.
This is how you know Stephanie has a good heart. She a good person, man. She worried about the person standing outside your house in their underwear in the snow, staring at you in your house and worrying if they get sick first. That's what she said first. That was her first thought. You're a better person than me. I would not. Why the fuck are you in here? Why are you outside my house? Out of all these houses, you are outside my house staring at me outside, me staring at you while you staring at me. And you just outside in your swim trunks. I'm not worrying about your health right now because obviously I feel like you want to be there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I got people in the house. I got people in the house to protect. I can't really be worrying about this stranger outside in they damn drawers or swim drawers in the snow. Shit. That is scary. I ain't gonna hold you.
Dr. Brickham walks into the living room. Most of the living room is pretty tidy,
Okay.
a little clutter like any normal house, but all over it was pretty well organized. I mean, it's pretty evident that someone in this house is maintaining the living areas, making
Right.
sure that they're always well kept, cleaning up, organizing.
Right.
Everything
But-
except the couch in the center of the living room. The dark brown leather couch
Oh!
was the source of this smell, and Dr. Brickham had been hit with it when he walked into that house, and he could almost see steam like emanating from it.
Steam? Okay.
The couch looked like it
Steam?
was melting. The couch was soaked with urine and feces, human excrement. The waste was seeping through the couch bottom onto the floor where it looked like any second the floor. Nobody cleaned the floor underneath the couch. It looked like the floor was going to crumble in on itself from the gathering of all the liquid and feces. There was an 18-inch gap between the couch and the wall. The wall looked moist. Like it looked like there would be condensation droplets on the wall.
Did these people lived in this house? There better not have been nobody in that house because no, what? How do you? Because no, no.
From steam, from liquid.
Yo,
And the couch just looks so out of place. I mean, you wouldn't even expect to see this type of couch in an abandoned home. It looks like a regular, normal living room, and then they just have this couch that everyone in the family and visitors go and pee and poop on, and then nobody cleans it up. That's what it looks like, and it's just melting. It's like a weird time capsule. Just the couch is rotting. It's bizarre. And this is the living room of a couple that's pretty well respected in the community. In a house where the rest of the place is extremely well kept and there are signs of life, and this is the couch that's in the center of the living room.
Signs of life, my ass. It's the smells of death. That probably would overshadow some signs of life. Bro, the wall is sticky. There's condensation on the wall. There's probable steam coming from the couch. What the fuck is going on this couch? Like feces and poop, and the poop is going through the couch. Like it's yo.
But as Dr. Bickham got closer, he found who he had come here for.
Oh my gosh.
Lacey Fletcher was laying in the living room couch. She's not laying on the couch. She's laying in the couch. There is a huge person-sized hole in the leather couch, almost to the floor. I would imagine it, and there are pictures. Just imagine your dog gnawed through all of the sofa cushion fluff, and there's just a hole in the couch. She's literally in the couch.
What?
She's slumped to one side, sitting cross-legged. Her eyes are wide open. Her mouth is wide open. She's completely nude except a small blue patterned top that's pulled over her chest. So her chest is bare.
So somebody did this.
Dr. Bickham could see.
Somebody did this. Somebody did this. And I will feel like such a dumbass if nobody did this. There's too many variables that say somebody didn't do something.
Her bones. Not because she was that emaciated, which she was very malnourished, but parts of her body had been rotten and eaten by maggots while she was alive. Just think of the mental trauma for someone who would be alert and aware if they were to look down and see their own flesh being eaten by maggots. There were maggots crawling in and around her hair, all over her body. She was covered head to toe in feces. It was found in her mouth, in her stomach, in her ears. She had been eating it, or she had been fed it. We don't know. The sofa arms were covered in scratches. This is not a situation where Lacey's body was left on the couch to decompose after her death, and the feces and urine, it came out during the decomposition process. This is not that situation. Lacey was kept alive on that couch for 12 years. She had been alive for 12 years, not able to get up to even use the restroom. She had been soiling herself and then either eating or being fed her own feces while being trapped on this couch for 12 years.
12
Her
years,
flesh had been rotting
yo.
while she was alive. Maggots were eating away at her while she was alive. And she had just recently passed away. And the two people who lived with her, her parents, the ones who walked past that couch every single day, walked past it to head into the kitchen, to the garage, to the backyard, Sheila and Clay Fletcher, they were now standing in the kitchen with no explanation on what the hell had happened.
When I first walked in the house,
Instant arrest. Shit, arrest for just being nasty. Like, how do y'all walk through this death smell every day, going into the kitchen to make food, walk back, go to the dining room, do all this stuff? Shit, y'all probably wasn't watching TV in the family room. Why is your daughter in...
it smelled of feces, fecal material, however you want to put that
This is like the worst nose blindness I've ever heard in my life.
politely. It stunk. When I got to the body, the individual was basically sitting in a hole filled with liquid stool and urine. I was able to place her body in a black body bag, and I took it down to Jefferson Parish for autopsy. It's the worst form of medical neglect I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know any other adjectives or adverbs to add to that.
Lacey was
Rest in
pronounced
peace,
dead
yo.
at 3:07 p.m. on January 3rd, 2022, but it's likely that she passed away at least 24 to 48 hours prior.
My gosh.
She could have passed away New Year's Day, 2022.
Oh.
The world around her would have been celebrating the start of a new year, something fresh, and Lacey would have been dying in her own excrement. Sheila Fletcher got a little bit more talkative at the police station. And side note, this isn't even immediately after authorities took Lacey's body away. Sheila was interviewed January 18th. Lacey's body was found January 3rd.
So the police didn't do anything until 18th.
They really did not treat the parents like persons of interest or even suspects.
Weren't they in the fucking house?
So it's a small town, right? So they all know each other. And
Right.
Now, Sheila tells authorities January 18th that Lacey had social anxiety and had met with a psychologist over a period of 3 years when she was back a teenager. Lacey was 36 when she passed. So you're talking about like decades ago. Eventually, she stopped seeing her doctor decades ago.
right.
Sheila and Clay contemplated getting Lacey committed into a specialist medical facility, but for whatever reason, that never happened. In the interview with the police, Sheila insisted that Lacey refused to leave the couch. It was a personal choice that she made. So she and Clay, they did their best to accommodate her on her wishes. Like they set up a toilet for her, like one of those portable toilets that you see at hospitals. They put it right next to the couch with some baby wipes, baby powder, a fresh change of clothes, a stack of Lacey's favorite movies to watch. They were all there. All Lacey had to do was get up.
So you mean to tell me that she was so stubborn to not leave that she ignored the natural, feeling of, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Really? That's what you're telling me? Really?
But she didn't ever want to leave the couch, ever.
Ain't no couch that comfortable, bro. Ain't no couch that comfortable. I don't care what type of couch. Ain't no couch that comfortable.
That's what they said.
That's
Maybe
what
it's
they saying.
laziness. So they gave Lacey a towel on the couch to use as a toilet.
I used to be lazy as like a child when I ain't want to do nothing. But you know what I did? I got up and went to the bathroom. I also want to be sensitive. I don't know what.
Sheila stated that she would have to take the towels from Lacey, the ones covered in feces, clean them, and then bring her new towels.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was a whole thing. Sheila also stated that she would have to clean Lacey's body and bed sores, and not once did Lacey ever complain about pain, which, I don't know, is just really unbelievable. And even if someone doesn't complain about pain, if you can see someone's bone, Sheila stated that Lacey had lost her appetite last autumn, so back in 2021. But when the Fletchers, because they went on a New Year's trip, when they got back from their trip from New Year's on January 2nd, the day before Lacey died, Sheila said that she made her half a sandwich and gave her a bag of Cheetos. She stated Lacey ate it. Then, according to Sheila, the mom, Sheila went to sleep on the chair on the living room next to Lacey's couch, near Lacey, near the rotting hole in the sofa. And at around 10 p.m., when Sheila fell asleep for the night, Lacey was still alive. When she woke up the next morning, Lacey was dead.
What?
That's what Sheila Fletcher said.
Huh?
But Sheila Fletcher is a liar, in my personal humble opinion. Sheila
Okay. I was waiting on that, because what?
stated January 2nd, 2022, Lacey ate half a sandwich and a bag of Cheetos.
Okay.
This is not what would be found in Lacey's stomach during the autopsy. All they could find in her stomach was sofa foam and feces. No sandwich, no Cheetos.
You lying
And if
heifer.
Lacey had been sitting there on that couch for 12 years, that means this hell would have begun around 2010. And she would have almost certainly been in pain since day one.
Right.
they said that she's been sitting there for 12 years.
They said that it's been years. They didn't give an exact estimate, but the coroner said about 12 years.
12 years.
Now,
12
skin exposure to urine and feces is painful and can start stinging within hours. It happens more frequently with infants. It's actually called a diaper rash, and it can get very serious, if not even
shit.
kill infants.
Oh,
And
my.
it's not even done purposely. Most of the times that babies have diaper rashes, it's not abuse. It's typically just because they're very sensitive.
Right.
Now, the main symptoms are red rashes on the buttocks. If left unaddressed for too long, it can quickly escalate into a full body fever, full body chills, and a full body rash.
Oh.
Urine and feces contain ammonia. Now, ammonia is very corrosive. If your skin is in contact with ammonia for long periods of time, it can cause irritation and even burns.
That's also kind of crazy. How the heck you got, how your feces, how does that create that? It's just that we got ammonia in us. I'm sorry, I haven't taken a science class in probably 10 years by now. Over 10 years. I may have forgotten some things in high school or something. How the fuck? That is, what the hell? And there's people who be eating it.
That could have happened within the first few hours of the first day that Lacey had soiled herself on that couch. Now, if a diaper rash is left untreated, the skin starts to swell. It can transform into these rashes that have these white bumps all over that ooze
All right, bro. Oh my fucking goodness.
clear fluid, and then the skin starts to peel, causing these open sores. It's very painful. And if there's still urine or feces that's there to make contact with those open sores, you're at a dangerous risk of infections. Yeast infections might be one. Yeast dermatitis could be another thing. Those are dark red areas of the skin, usually filled with these raised yellow fluid-filled pustules. This is likely all happening near the private regions because she was found sitting cross-legged. So she's genuinely sitting in a pile of her urine and feces, which makes everything much more sensitive and painful because these are your private parts. Side note, if Lacey still had her menstrual cycle at the beginning of all of this, she may not have due to malnutrition or other reasons. But if she did, that means there would have also been blood rotting into the sofa, and blood attracts flies. Flies would have been attracted to Lacey and her wounds that were all primarily, again, in her neck, like down regions. Also, infections for the private regions are incredibly painful, and that is just the beginning. This is still when everything is treatable fairly easily. Painful, but not like life-threatening, typically. Even without urine and feces, the high risk of painful infections just sitting or laying in one place is horrendous for the body. Bed sores. Have you heard of bed sores?
Yeah.
They're going to be one of the first things to show up. Bed sores occur when there is continuous pressure on parts of the body, usually by sitting or laying in a single position for an extended period of time. So you're cutting off blood supply to that specific area, which causes the surrounding tissue to start dying. Within 2 hours, the tissue starts dying.
Literally, as we're watching this or listening to this whole breakdown of what scientifically happens, this just becoming way more inexcusable. Aldermans.
Humans are very sensitive because that tissue is not getting enough oxygen because blood has oxygen in it and you're not getting blood flowing there, and it can happen in 2 to 3 hours. So you're like, okay, well, why don't I get bed sores when I'm falling asleep? We're constantly moving. Even shuffling like this is moving. So if you're sitting on a chair for 8 hours studying, if you're moving a little bit, it's hard to get bed sores. This stops it from developing.
So you like to get a bed sore, you have to not be doing a damn thing. And I don't know anybody who literally just sits there not doing a damn thing, scratch your ass, nothing.
But if you're unable to move around, a bed sore is going to happen because there's a lack of oxygen. Like, it's not preventable. The skin will die and the bed sore will just look like a red blotch on the skin. So it starts looking like a sunburn, and it feels a little hot to the touch, kind of like a sunburn, warm. It might even be a little itchy, very similar to a sunburn, but eventually it turns purple. And by that point, if left untreated, the skin will break open and you're just going to have this painful wound that becomes easily infected, and then it collapses on itself. It's like a crater-sized blister. Some bed sores, I saw pictures on Reddit. I honestly don't know. I should not have gone down that route. There's like dinner plate-sized bed sores, and you can see all the way to the bone. And it's not just skin deep. That's the problem. These bed sores collapse and they go deeper and deeper until you literally have Swiss cheese-like holes on your body. They reach into the muscle all the way to the bone. If you see a really bad picture of a bed sore, you can see muscle, tendons, bones, joints, just in a hole in someone's body.
Okay, well, let me write that down in my mental Rolodex to never look up what a bed sore is. Because I be doing random Google searches. That is off my list. I need to get that out of my brain. Curiosity will not kill this cat today. No, thank you. No, thank you.
It's like an exposed tunnel for people to see inside of you.
Holy shit.
Once a bed sore develops,
No
you have
pun
to treat
intended.
it and dress it every single day, multiple times a day. It is absolutely horrendous for the patient and the caretaker. And bed sores are very, very, very slow to heal. With bed sores, genuinely, prevention is the only key. All you can do is move around. So that's why when you have bedbound patients, one of the first things that caretakers or nurses learn is you have to flip the patient every 2 hours. There's no question about it. And that's why when you go to nursing homes and maybe your grandparents have a bed sore, it's taken so seriously because when you hear the word bed sore, you're like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. But it's a very clear indicator that there could be abuse happening.
Oh,
Some really bad
okay.
bed sores take days, months, even years to heal. Some may never heal. They may need surgery. And when it's super serious, bed sores can lead to death.
That is crazy. So, not doing something within 2 hours, give or take, can mess you up to the point where it takes, to the fullest extent, years to heal. That is a crazy turnaround time. Like, what the fuck?
Once they get infected, it leads to sepsis and death.
Oh, gosh.
Bed sores cause the death of more than 24,000 people each year. And
What?
again, the saddest part is most of the time, bed sores are completely preventable. I feel like it's very safe to assume that Lacey went through all of that and more. By the time that her body was found, the flesh on Lacey's bottom had been worn away and eaten. It was gone.
Oh my gosh.
Like, she
what
had
the heck?
no thighs, no butt. Her back and butt area, it was impossible to tell what part was a human being. Her skin and flesh were so rotten and half eaten by maggots. There were other areas that maybe looked a little bit more like human skin, but it was completely yellow, which is typically a sign of infected skin. Lacey had bed sores that went all the way down to her bones. Her skin was rotting away from constantly sitting in a mess of feces and acidic urine. She had a severe case of gangrene, which is when your flesh is dead. So the tissue changes from red to black, and then you're left with dead tissue, which is very dangerous because, again, you're at risk of infection, which can kill you.
Right.
The only tiny bit of relief in all of this is
Relief?
hopefully with her injuries being that deep into her skin, hopefully it destroyed her nerve endings. There's a chance that it might not have, but there is a chance that it did. So maybe she had lost feeling in some of these parts of her body.
Oh my gosh.
Around the injury sites. We don't know for sure, but we can only hope that she didn't feel what was slowly happening to her body for 12 long, agonizing, painful years.
And they gonna say, "Oh, she just wanted to be there." What? What do you talk? What the?
And it wasn't just the lower part of her body. Her entire backside was a mess of raw, rotten flesh. She was completely covered in raw red blotches, and Lacey's wounds were being cleaned. Not by her parents, but by maggots.
Yo.
Maggots were crawling in and out of her, consuming her dead flesh. And for this case, the maggots did more to help Lacey than her own parents. Like, I know usually we talk about maggots and it's not in a positive light, but maggots have a very important role in this world. So they eat dead flesh. In medical history, and sometimes even today, maggots have been used as a way of helping clean wounds. So maggots, usually they leave healthy flesh alone and just feed off of dead flesh, which needs to be cut away anyway because you're at risk of infection.
And it's interesting that you say it needs to be cut away anyway. I understand that maggots do have a an important role. I get that. I understand. But that does not take away. Y'all ever opened up a trash can and on like, what is it, like a summer day when you trying to put the trash, or you forget like there's some trash in the trash can and you see maggots in the trash. Oh.
And in Lacey's case, it seems to have worked to the point that she did not die of sepsis and infection for the first 12 years.
Wow.
The maggots kept her alive by
crazy.
eating the dead flesh on her wounds.
That is crazy.
While her parents did nothing for her, in my opinion.
What were they doing?
We know that Lacey was left with no real food or water in reach, and Lacey, on some level, was aware enough to know that she needed to eat. Her body seems to have grasped for anything that she could get, and the sofa foam was the only thing in reach.
So
that and feces.
So
because that was what was found in her stomach, not half of a sandwich or Cheetos.
Yeah, that shit don't make no sense. Like, what the fuck did them parents do? Because what do you mean? Oh, my daughter is like melting into the couch and she's been there for 12 years. Let me make her a bologna scent. Listen, okay? That don't make no sense. That makes no sense. A fucking sandwich is not gonna fix this shit. Anybody can know that. A sedentary rock can even know that. Shit. What? A bag of Cheetos and a sandwich and no You know what? Sorry.
That's just the physical trauma of her body. We don't know to what extent and how bad the emotional and mental trauma was for
Rest in
12
peace,
years.
bro.
We don't know if this is even the full extent of her physical trauma. Technically, there could have been things that happened to her years ago that wouldn't be present during the autopsy now. Dr. Bickham's official report stated Lacey died of sepsis as a result of severe medical neglect, which led to chronic malnutrition, acute starvation. Lacey only weighed 96 pounds at 36 years old. Immobility, acute ulcer formation, bone infection, which ultimately led to sepsis and death. And one last thing about Lacey's autopsy. Sheila Fletcher stated she never took Lacey to the doctor because Lacey had never been sick.
Yo, these were the people that the town went to for their problems to be. These people at the time. It's the person that did that, right?
Which, like, let's not even unpack how ridiculous that statement is.
Yeah, let's
like,
not do
we
that.
don't even need to go there.
Please keep that book bag closed. We don't need to do that because I'm gonna get mad. I'm already irritated. I'm gonna get mad if you try to make sense of this shit.
But that alone seems to be another lie, or at least a very misguided statement, because Lacey had COVID when she died. Most of Clay and Sheila Fletcher's friends
Everything just keeps piling on.
did not even know that they had a daughter. But there were people that remembered Lacey, the ones who went to school with her in Slaughter, Louisiana, or the ones that saw her running around the neighborhood when she was younger. They all just assumed that she had grown up, moved out of Slaughter, maybe settled down nearby in Baton Rouge, got married. The ones that knew that the Fletchers had a daughter, they remembered Lacey as being a very friendly kid. She was fun to be around. She had a lot of different interests. She was, like a lot of people, obsessed with Disney. She loved anything Disney World, Disneyland, Disney movies, characters. That's her happy place. She would send friends links to videos of Disney. Also, Mariah Carey and country music. Very interesting mix, but she was someone that just had a very wide range of interests.
Cool.
She's very active. She loved bowling, volleyball. Those were her favorite activities. And everybody's favorite word to describe Lacey was just sweet, like as sweet as can be.
Like these type of stories where where we speak about, the victim and like we get a rundown and a description of this victim, and it's literally like the most wholesome shit you can ever hear in your life to describe this person. And it's in the same context or the same video or the same medium of media that they experience the most horrific demise imaginable. Like that adds so much more to the horrifying just feeling of like, you ain't deserved that, man.
She never acted out. She didn't seem like she was creating trouble or, when you have younger kids, there can be certain things that they do or say, or maybe they're acting out that might indicate that something darker is happening within. Maybe it's happening at the house. There's just these little indications, right? Lacey didn't have any of that.
Okay.
She was a happy-go-lucky kid that liked to have fun. Now, side note, Lacey was diagnosed as autistic when she was younger.
Okay.
And just to give you a bit of context, autism is a neurological condition. It is not an illness and is a lot more common than people think. Around 1 in 36 children were diagnosed as autistic in 2023. And it generally affects the way that people communicate for a few reasons. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just a different way of communicating. Many autistic people report feeling their senses a bit more. So what seems like a quiet room for some people can actually be sensory overload for an autistic person. Some autistic people report having excellent memory for facts and very strong problem-solving logical minds.
One thing I do appreciate about like the autism awareness stuff nowadays is that people are more, I would say, more sensitive and not as mean and as like dismissive as people were back in like the early 2000s, maybe the early 2010s. Like I do appreciate all this information that's coming out about all these types of things that can describe what someone's going through or what someone has, or, just giving us a more informed view on certain things. And people are now accepting this more to not be a complete dickhead about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do appreciate that we're getting in more of a step in the right direction, I guess, as a society, even though there are those people who are just fucking assholes and shit. But I would say on the other side, it does seem like there is more of a caring feel, kinda. I may be wrong, but I guess what my POV is could be seen with like rose-colored glasses. You know, this world is evil as shit.
But they might struggle with social cues or small talk. Or some autistic people have reported finding it difficult to read facial expressions and eye contact. There has been a lot of stigma and prejudice attached to autism for a very long time, and I think there still is today. But I think being able to see the world in slightly different ways is a great thing. Different world perception is not necessarily better or worse. It's just different, and I think we need different perceptions.
Yes.
There's a common saying in the autistic community. If you've met one autistic person, then you've met one autistic person. Because it's not really something where you can generalize and say, oh, if you have autism, then you feel A, B, C, and D. It's such a wide spectrum that people can be very different from one another with very different needs and different ways of communicating. So keep that in mind. Because Lacey's parents would often tell people, yeah, Lacey's just super quiet and withdrawn and she doesn't like socializing. But her friends at school were so confused. They're like, are we talking about the same girl right now? Are we talking about the same Lacey? I mean, sure, I guess she's kind of quiet compared to like the class clown, but she would go out of her way to welcome people and try to build connections. I mean, she's very opinionated and very passionate about a lot of things.
And there's also like the thing that, you know, not like shoot. I'm not. My attempt in saying this is not to shoot the parents bail because, for obvious reasons, but like there is a thing where parents know their child so much more differently than the world knows them. You know the saying like, oh, you know your parents more than they probably know you. You know, because like 8 hours through the day from what K5 to or maybe K4 up until 12th grade is like you don't even. You're not with them unless they're maybe homeschooled or unless there's, you know, outliers and stuff like that. But it's like sometimes hearing parents tell like their child that they know them, knowing damn well that their child damn near has a whole possible double life that the parents don't even know because, you know, sometimes kids do hide things. It's always interesting to see. It's like, are you sure you really mean by saying that?
She loved new experiences and she loved a change in her routine. So I don't know what the parents are saying.
Just talking.
To a lot of Lacey's childhood friends, it felt like her parents didn't even know who she was.
Oh, shit.
And side note, her parents were allegedly wishy-washy with her diagnosis. Sometimes they would state that Lacey had Asperger's syndrome, which is no longer used as a diagnosis anymore, by the way. Sometimes they would describe her autism as, quote, mild. Other times they would describe it as, quote, severe, which, side note, from what I've been told, the better verbiage to describe autism is high or low support needs. But these are allegedly the verbiage that Lacey's parents used. So this is not me describing Lacey. Lacey's doctor, Dr. Bickham, Dr. Bickham, the one that went to Lacey Fletcher's home to find her, was her primary care physician when she was younger.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Holy
he was
shit.
friendly with the Fletchers. Like, he knew the Fletchers. He was their doctor.
Holy shit.
He's also the town coroner. Small town. Yeah. Dr. Bickham would even describe her diagnosis as, quote, severe autism and social anxiety. But again, this just doesn't really match the way that Lacey's friends describe her, so it's confusing. And just to clarify, Lacey did have unique interests, but it doesn't seem to have anything to do with autism. Like, just flat out. So one of Lacey's old classmates would say, yeah, I saw her around 15 years ago, and she was definitely different from other kids her age. I mean, I knew that she wasn't your typical teenager. This is all a direct quote. She was smart. She was smart as hell. But I guess the best way to describe her was she wasn't as mature as us. She still liked childish things, like not teenage things. When she was 17 or 18, she was more into Disney movies and country music. Which again, I don't know how that's very different. She would invite us over to watch Disney movies despite being more withdrawn. But it's just not my forte. Again, she just had her own interests. I would hardly call that strange or a reflection of her diagnosis. So a lot of Lacey's friends, they're shocked when at 16 years old, Lacey gets pulled out of public school at the end of 9th grade and she started to get homeschooled. Her parents stated that she had to be pulled out of school immediately, but it's so unclear, like why? Side note, back then, homeschooling was not very common. And the Fletchers, they never gave examples of why, at least not yet, of what made them think, this is it. We need to pull her out of school for her own good. We need to make sure that her sports, her friends, her socialization, we need to cut it off. All they said was that Lacey's autism got worse. Which is strange because autistic people can struggle in a rigid school environment and they may need to be homeschooled either permanently or for a short period of time. But usually it's very important that there's a support network in place because literally every human on this earth needs a support group to help manage stress and keep up with interpersonal relationships so that they don't get isolated.
Were these parents just winging this shit? Like what?
But they just cut off all of Lacey's friends. Even if a kid is homeschooled, it is in the parents' best interest to let them keep their already established friendships.
Okay.
But allegedly, none of that happened. Allegedly, once Lacey started getting homeschooled, she was seen outside less and less. In fact, it just seemed like the couple stopped bringing Lacey up in conversations even.
The fuck?
The last time someone distinctly, or at least reports remembering Lacey being brought up in conversations, was in 2010. Lacey would have been 23 at the time.
What the fuck?
The Fletchers walked into Dr. Bickham's office without Lacey and stated, our daughter Lacey is becoming reclusive. She never wants to leave the house or the couch. Interestingly, the Fletchers could have easily taken photos or videos to show Dr. Bickham what's going on. I mean, that seems like the very logical, common sense thing to do, but they brought along no footage. Just told him, we don't know what's going on.
What?
Based on the Fletcher's description, it sounded like Lacey was dealing with extreme and sudden agoraphobia, which is a disorder when people are afraid of open spaces like public areas. On the milder side, it can be someone that has very extreme social anxiety, does not want to be in places that they're not comfortable with or cannot deem as a safe space, which public spaces, they tend to be a bit more unpredictable. But on the more extreme end, you have people who never leave the house. They deem the home or even a certain room of the home to be the only safe space in the entire world for them. And even stepping outside of that safe space could result in a panic attack. So this is very serious. Now, typically, agoraphobia is more likely in people that already struggle with anxiety. And it can get worse over time if it's not helped or treated.
Okay.
Someone's safe space can actually get smaller and smaller. So when it used to be the whole house, someone with agoraphobia can be like, actually, now it's only the back of the house.
Oh, wow.
Actually, now it's only the living room. Which we have no idea if this is even what's happening to Lacey. All we have are her parents at her doctor's office saying she doesn't want to get off the couch and she's being antisocial. For all we know, she could have been tied to the couch. Side note, that is a theory later that comes up.
She was tired.
And another side note, some people have just put the autism as a blanket statement over anything going on with Lacey at the time and why she was pulled out of school. And again, sure, maybe something was going on with Lacey, but we don't have proof. And autism doesn't suddenly change a person drastically.
And also, isn't it like a whole process to pull somebody out of school? Like I don't know. But I would assume, like, wouldn't the school like fight you for you to not pull them out of school or say like you have these what's it called, these have documents and stuff like that? If I'm wrong and this is just the small town and small town rules are small town rules, but like you just say, oh, her autism is getting worse, so I'm pulling her out of school. That's it? And they just let that happen? Why? Because y'all the aldermans? Like, what?
An autistic person who can speak, make friends, have hobbies, go to school, use the restroom by themselves, they don't just suddenly wake up one day and don't do those things. But a lot of people are like, oh, autism. Like, that's not how it works. We have no idea why Lacey was pulled out of school. We have no idea what caused her parents to pull her out of school.
Like what?
So just to recap, Lacey is pulled out of school at 16. She was last seen by Robert Blades Sr. exercising outside when she was 21. The Fletchers tell Dr. Bickham that she stopped wanting to leave the house at age 23. Lacey was emailing a friend of hers at 27. And Robert Blades Sr. asked Clay about Lacey, and he said that she was fine and at home, and then changed the subject when Lacey was 30. 6 years later, Lacey Fletcher's was found dead on the couch at 36 years old.
This timeline, bro. What?
Lacey Fletcher sat down on the couch one day, whether it was against her will or not, will be argued later.
Okay.
But she never got back up. How is that even possible?
I don't know.
The first theory that came about online was that Lacey had locked-in syndrome, which we talked about earlier in the episode.
Right.
Because when this case broke, a rumor started that she had locked-in syndrome, and everyone, including major news outlets, they just ran with it. They
fuck?
said that she had locked-in syndrome because it just answered all the questions of why and how is an able-bodied woman sitting in her own waste for 12 years until the couch fell apart.
And it's also kind of like, sorry, Stephanie. It's also kind of like people feel entitled to an answer so much that they will just create an answer just to fuel people's entitlement. When literally the answer could just be like, we don't know until you do know. You know what I'm saying? And you just put a blanket term. It's just like, oh, locked-in syndrome. Now you got the news outlets doing that, knowing damn well people are going to listen to the news regardless if they're right or wrong. And it's like, that's not right, honestly.
Locked-in syndrome was kind of this neat little package that answers every little question and gives people peace. But it's not true. Lacey did not have locked-in syndrome. She was able at some point to email her friends, or at least dictate what she wanted emailed to her friends.
Right.
She was able to feed herself and even swallow the sofa foam and feces. So even if you have locked-in syndrome and someone is force-feeding you something, you cannot swallow. You have no control over any of your muscles except maybe your eyelids. You are fully locked into your body, which it appears Lacey was not. Side note, Dr. Bickham would later state that he had never heard of locked-in syndrome in his entire career, refuting the idea that Lacey Fletcher had this syndrome. And while she may not have had locked-in syndrome, it is a very real thing that does exist. It's just very rare. But it doesn't seem like Lacey had it, which leads us to the most confusing question of all of this. Then why didn't she just get up? There are a few theories on why, but the belief is, regardless of how it started, her leg muscles probably atrophied to the point where she could no longer be able to get up even if she wanted to.
Wow.
So she started off able-bodied, but her leg muscles might have been completely dead. Let's say, for whatever reason, you are unable to get up from a sitting position, whether that be from inner, mental, or outside physical force, you cannot get up.
Okay.
Your physical body is going to react to that. Have you ever slept and your leg fell asleep?
Yeah, mine just did.
Where you've been in one position for so long that your leg goes numb, and then when you finally take the pressure off that leg, you feel that tingling pins and needle feeling, and it's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if we realize it's happening, most of us can do something about it if we're able-bodied. But if Lacey had been sitting in that same position for long enough, her leg muscles would have atrophied on their own and started wasting away, becoming locked into place, paralyzing her. Over time, the pain and rotting of the flesh in her thighs and buttocks would have further paralyzed her muscles as well.
Oh, wow.
Lacey was found in her legs crossed in a position that most people would actually deem and describe as defensive rather than comfortable. Like, how long can you actually sit crisscross applesauce without getting uncomfortable? So let's just say that's how she first sat down on the couch. Again, we can't say for certain if this was or was not against her will because there are online theories about it, but let's just say she sat down like that. Soon, within minutes or hours, blood would flow more slowly to this area, which can lead to what I talked about, the bed sores. But it gets worse because this loss of blood is basically a crushing injury. Not as a description, but that's what they call it, like as if you're getting crushed. It just gets more and more dangerous over time as well. The tissue around her legs and butt were dying. If it gets really severe, surgery or even amputation would be necessary to correct the problem.
This shit is just happening and their parents are doing what?
At a certain point, since Lacey had been sitting for that long, even just getting up could kill her. So it's not like her parents are saying she just didn't want to get up from the couch. She could die by getting up from the couch.
Right.
Not to overcomplicate it, but if you have a crushing injury like compartment syndrome, when there is high enough pressure on a limb or part of the body that blocks blood flow to that compartment of the body, for example, Lacey's legs and behind area, potassium starts to build up. And then when you get up or the pressure is suddenly taken off of that area, all that potassium has nowhere to go except straight into your bloodstream. And this rush of massive amounts of potassium causes a heart attack.
Yo, what in the fuck, bro? The human body is something else, bro. What? What the fuck?
And you can die. Lacey had been on that couch for 12 years. By year 1, it would have been shocking if Lacey was even able to use her legs at all. She would have been fully paralyzed. This is likely what could have happened to Lacey's physical body. But again, why? Why did she sit down and never get up, even when she felt her legs falling asleep? Even if she must have felt extreme discomfort in that position, why didn't she just move or reposition herself or get up entirely?
Wait, hold on. Because what if? Because I'm thinking like these parents over here just like changing the story or changing her diagnosis multiple times. So it kind of like begs the question, like, were these the type of parents that would just say like, oh, she not that, she this? Like, how did like they be ignorant to like actual nuances of like diagnoses and stuff like that, to the point where like if this theory is correct, like this happened to her and they were just like, oh, look at Lacey over there just sitting on that couch. Ain't nothing wrong with Lacey. Lacey, you getting up today? No? Okay, well, ain't nothing wrong. Like that type of neglect, like saying like, oh, they just sitting there doing nothing. See, all right? Like that? Like that's what I'm slowly thinking of. Like I'm slowly thinking of that instead of like the parents like actually like making her eat. But then again, the ears. Well, the ears could have been because she was slumped. I don't know.
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
Let's say that she didn't want to get up from this couch. This couch is her safe space. There was some sort of mental barrier.
Right.
Why didn't she change her positions around? There are 2 theories that people have considered online.
Okay.
Either there was a mental or emotional reason Lacey did not get up, or she was physically tied down in the beginning until her legs atrophied.
What the fuck?
Let's explore the first theory, that she chose to be on the couch.
Okay.
And just to preface, even if it was Lacey's choice, the fact that her parents didn't do anything to help her, that's not okay, in my opinion, if this theory is even true. I think it's still a tragic, horrible case of neglect that borders abuse because of how severe it is.
Yeah.
But some people theorize that Lacey had developed agoraphobia at 16 and it escalated, developing worse and worse every single year until it reached a point where Lacey's only safe space was the couch that she was on. She didn't want to get off the couch. And the theory goes that the Fletcher parents, they didn't know how to handle this. They thought Lacey was being this lazy teenager who didn't want to socialize, work, or go to school. And it started off as a stubbornness problem. Well, if you don't want to get off the couch, we're not going to take care of you. But eventually that evolved into the Fletcher parents building resentment and denial towards Lacey and the condition. This is, again, a theory.
What the fuck? How the hell? Resentment? What the fuck?
This theory is the kindest towards the Fletcher parents. It's the theory that her parents became so overwhelmed by her, quote, issues that they just kept ignoring the, quote, problem for 12 years until Lacey died.
I don't care how much y'all are overwhelmed by something. You gonna be overwhelmed by this poo smell. And you normal people will do something about it. Or am I messing up the timeline? Like, this is like, what type of parent? Yo!
Some people argue that caregiver resentment is very real.
Really?
And that maybe her parents were in denial about how bad it was getting until it was too late. One detail that I guess supports this theory, not really, because I have a hard time getting behind this theory, but anyway, a supporting detail, I guess you could argue, is that Lacey was still emailing her friends in 2014 when she was around 27 years old. A few of her old high school friends received emails and they sounded very much like Lacey. They were filled with passion and she was sending them links of videos from Disney. Not of her at Disney, but like of Disney.
Right.
There was no hint that she was trapped anywhere or being abused. We have no idea if Lacey was given her phone, had access to her phone to send these emails. We have no idea if she told someone what she wanted to say in the email and someone sent it. We have no idea if someone wrote the email for her. We have no clue. We just know that these emails were sent under her email address and they sounded very much like her.
Okay.
And I guess the people that are in support of this theory, they think if Lacey's parents were actively abusing her or torturing her in some way, would they want her to have her phone to message her friends? Like, what if she told them something? What if she reached out for help? And then a few years before that, Lacey's parents went to Dr. Bickham, remember, to talk about how Lacey was becoming very socially reclusive.
Right.
Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just act like she went to the big city, moved on, got married, went to college? Side note, I saw arguments as well that some autistic people struggle to explain when they're in pain and explain exactly how much pain they're in, which has led to serious issues. But I don't know how that applies because that's usually for injuries that can't be seen from the outside, like appendicitis. I want to include it because it has been mentioned, but I just don't think that autism really has anything to do with this case other than the media reaction of justifying and almost answering Lacey's death by just saying, oh, blanket statement, autism. But other than that, I don't see how the fact that she was autistic applies to the questions that need to be answered. Lacey had sores all over her flesh that was rotting. Maggots were eating away at her, consuming her right in front of her parents. Who cares if she was autistic or not?
Yeah,
like I
what?
don't think anyone needed for her to verbally say, hey guys, I'm in pain. And there have been theories of how Lacey went from being a socially active 16-year-old girl to not leaving the couch. One of the more popular theories are severe agoraphobia. Some people speculate that Lacey could have also developed schizophrenia, with the average age of onset tending to be around 20 to 30 for women. So they're like, what if she was schizophrenic? And perhaps schizophrenia was causing her hallucinations that made her terrified to leave the couch in fear of some sort of perceived danger out there. Or maybe she had some sort of brain injury that caused her to suddenly behave differently and her parents had no idea how to give her care. Another supporting theory is that Lacey was kept alive for 12 years.
And yeah, well, that's one. But also, like, they don't know how to give her care. They can call. They are the aldermans. They can ask for help. Or does this tie back into like who helps the aldermans? I know damn way. No, there's no way. There's no way it just ties back to that.
A person can usually only live about a few days without water and a few weeks without food. And although Lacey was severely malnourished, she was getting enough food and fiber to at least defecate. Which, side note, this is a big part of life. Extreme constipation can actually cause death on its own by blocking the intestines and the colon.
Oh, fuck.
So Lacey was getting enough food to defecate and pass urine. She also had all of her front teeth when she died. So someone, whether it was Lacey or her parents, someone was helping her brush her teeth for her. Could the parents have been so far in denial that they just didn't understand that Lacey could no longer move and get up on her own or even use the toilet right next to the couch? Maybe they thought, even in year 10, that her legs had not atrophied, even though they were completely rotten and eaten by maggots. They just thought that she was being stubborn and a lazy kid.
All right, bro, go to fuckhead. No, there's no way. There's no way, bro. There's no way. Like, what? You still think she's lazy when you can actively see her flesh rotting? What the fuck is wrong with these parents? Like, what?
Or they thought that they were being good, authoritative parents. They're like, you're stubborn. Well, we're not going to do what you want us to do. After all, some people argue that the parents clearly brought her a toilet to use and put it up right next to the couch, provided her with baby wipes and baby powder for her, as well as an option to have clean clothes that were sitting right next to her and her favorite movies laid out on the side. Someone's brushing her teeth, which caregivers have stated brushing a patient's teeth is actually a very strenuous, stressful process. Why would they do that unless to a degree they cared about her? That's the theory. I don't believe it, and I'm very reluctant to state when I don't believe theories strongly. I just don't see this one. It doesn't answer any questions for me. Like, never say never, so sure, maybe this is how the Fletcher parents felt personally, but it's still not really acceptable in my opinion. I mean, ignoring someone's depression, maybe I could try to understand it a little more. Maybe they're locked in their room and they don't talk to you. They don't communicate with you. That's something where I'm more kind of like, maybe the parents didn't fully understand it, or maybe they're very ignorant about these mental illnesses. But when someone has sores down to their bones, like their body is a mixture of holes and black and blue from tissue death, and there are maggots crawling around eating your child, consuming your child's flesh, how can they be in denial?
Exactly.
Even in very rare cases, we might sometimes hear, once in a blue moon, stories of people keeping their loved ones' deceased bodies. Like, no matter how much decomposition is happening, because these people are in denial of their loved one's death. But that denial typically extends all the way into other aspects of that person's life. They will be in denial about their loved one's death. They will still talk to them. They will still talk about them with other people as if they're still alive. But for the Fletcher parents, they were completely normal when they went outside to socialize. They never spoke about Lacey later on. It's as if she didn't exist. Most of their friends didn't even know that they had a kid. If they were in denial, wouldn't they talk about Lacey as if she's still alive and doing well? She's just being a lazy kid. and not melting into the couch. It's like they're hiding it, in my opinion.
It sounds like
people
that.
online have stated when parents love their kids and will do anything for them, but their circumstances are just really bad, they don't have the funds to get their child the proper care. The
Right.
state won't help. There's no other option. They feel lost and heartbroken that they can't do more for their child. That is clearly not the case with the Fletchers. The Fletchers would have enough to pay bail for the both of them. That amounts to $72,000 in cash. They could have easily found Lacey a long-term facility to help her because they can't be the ones to help her.
Shit, $72,000 is a lot of. It's a lot of money. A lot of money that makes you giving her a sandwich and some Cheetos as inexcusable.
So it's not that they had a lack of funds. Not only that, they live in Slaughter, Louisiana. The community there is incredibly strong. Everyone wants to help their neighbors, and they're popular members of the community. You're telling me that the community wouldn't have rallied together to help Lacey? But the point is, the Fletchers didn't even try. So while denial, I think, is a powerful thing, and being a caretaker is a very complex role, I don't believe that the Fletchers could have been in denial for 12 years. Every parent that I personally know, even seeing their child sick with a cold, a flu for a day, it physically and mentally pains them. But it is a theory, so I have to tell you about it. One of the Fletchers' neighbors even stated, the Fletchers are good people who just made bad decisions.
Man, what?
One netizen commented on the case and said,
What do you mean bad decisions? Nigga, they just ignored their daughter. What do you mean bad decisions? That's 12 years of bad decisions. That's 12 years. I don't even know nothing that can be 12 years consistently.
it can be extremely stressful for caregivers.
Understand,
Could
I
Lacey
get
have
that.
avoided her tragic end if more support and help were given to the parents who cared for her?
Support to the parents?
Yeah. They may have been really helpless and did not know what to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're helpless at this part, but they can also be the people that show up for the whole town, but showing up for their daughter, they're just like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I could show. What do you need? You need something that's very complex. Oh, I can help you. Oh, my daughter? I don't know. I'm really torn here between like, bro, what?
I think
What?
it's a pretty horrendous comment to make. Could Lacey have avoided her tragic end? The
Like
comment
what?
said.
Like she didn't have it.
Another netizen points out, they didn't even have her in a private room ignoring her.
It's in the middle of the house.
Like, they walked by her every single day
Every
and watched what
day.
happened. That's disgusting. That's not denial.
The
And
fuck?
another big thing to note, the parents weren't so in over their heads that they didn't have time or energy to be a part of the community. They always showed themselves in a very positive light to their neighbors and colleagues. They were
Yeah,
very much
like
active in
what?
social life. So they seemed involved in other interpersonal relationships. So they
Like, how the fuck do you go to these events and these things, and you go home to your daughter rotting on the fucking couch? Like, what? Huh?
had the energy for that.
Yeah, and the fact that it's been so many years, it's like every
12.
day it's a decision.
Every day,
minute,
every
every hour
day.
is a decision that
Yes.
And it's only
they're making
getting...
not to save her life.
Yes.
and more
Is her husband sick in this episode? Oh, I hope you're okay.
painful for her
Yeah.
to be alive in that state, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, what?
So now we head into the third theory. The Fletchers were torturing their only daughter, Lacey. This is the theory that most people, including law enforcement, seem to believe. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Sheila even outright lied to the police, stating that Lacey's last meal was the sandwich and the Cheetos. And we know that's not true. And there are two versions of this theory. I would say that law enforcement probably believed the latter theory, but the former theory, I'm going to run through it.
Okay.
The first version is that people believe that something traumatic happened to Lacey and then it spiraled into this. So this is very conspiracy vibes.
Okay.
This is based off of zero evidence, just from what little facts we know about the case. Some netizens have kind of spun together a theory of what they think might have happened. The first theory is that she was somehow injured. She had some sort of brain injury and all she could do was sit there.
Okay.
Or a traumatic event caused something in her brain to shift. Like SA could be an example of a traumatic event. And I know that SA is a wild theory to just throw out there. Some netizens believe this theory a bit more because Clay and Sheila went to see Dr. Bickham in 2010. They stated that Lacey was acting differently, and some people who have been sexually abused will try and make themselves seem repulsive to their attacker, like they refuse to wash.
Okay. And also, from what I remember in this episode, wasn't her shirt up?
or they will have kind of a drastic shift in their personality because of the trauma. Which still is very crazy theory just to toss around. But I don't think that anyone is trying to string together heinous things for the sake of it. I think people are genuinely trying to understand how this could happen to someone and how evil someone has to be to just watch it happen. Anyway, the theory continues that after a traumatic event, whether it be SA or some sort of physical injury, Lacey was no longer the same. And maybe the theory is her parents caused that shift in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, shit.
And they can't get her help because she might tell someone. They can't get her admitted because she might tell someone. So they just sit her down on the couch. And from there, her legs start atrophying and it escalates into this situation where they still do not want to get her help. There's also a theory that she was tied to the couch in that position until her legs naturally atrophied. And that is, again, purely a theory. There is zero evidence that she was tied to the couch on or before the day she died. But she was on the couch for the past 12 years. And like we said, within the first year, her legs were probably paralyzed and stuck in that position. So we don't know if maybe the first year she was on that couch, she could have been tied up. Who's to say? So the conspiracy is something bad happened. Parents don't want it to get out. Lacey is forced onto couch till her legs atrophy. Parents kept Lacey alive to torture her. Again, this is purely based on theory and not fact. Now, one aspect that people cannot get over is the fact that Lacey was found nude, except the shirt pulled over her chest. The nude part, maybe the parents stopped dressing her because they knew that she would just soil herself again, but why not let her have her top on? Why was it pulled up above her chest? Did it hurt the wounds on her back? Because then they said that she wasn't in pain and she never said that she was in pain. So why would it be pulled up? It just feels extra degrading. Like either take it all the way off or pull it down. I guess a lot of people have been reading into it. It feels very humiliating.
Yeah.
The other theory is something was going on with Lacey where she was terrified to leave the couch, but the parents believed that she was just being a difficult teenager. So they stubbornly told her, fine, sit on the couch then. And they started torturing her basically out of spite. Even before Lacey passed with just sofa foam and feces in her stomach, she was malnourished. It was chronic. So that means over time, Lacey was not getting enough nutrients or food. So the parents, they're going out to eat. They're going on trips. They're going away for the weekends, hanging out with friends.
Her daughter.
Lacey was alone, starving. That sounds like torture.
Yeah.
Some people think that even the toilet seat and the cleaning supplies being so close to the couch was a form of psychological torture.
Yeah, I was about to say, the fact that they put the toilet by the couch, or the Disney movies by her, or put a sandwich by her, like you're putting things by her, and I don't consider that giving it to them, especially when it seems like they can't reach it. Like when say like you're in school doing some messing around with one of your friends, you're like, oh, this is your phone, and you're like, give me my phone. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna give you your phone, and like say like their hand is right here, and you put the phone like right here, knowing that they can't reach it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what that sounds like to me.
Like, look at everything you could use if you just get up, but
Right.
you can't.
Right, like
why
what?
was it there? I mean, it's really clear. Like half of her body has disintegrated and melted. What do you mean get up to use the restroom?
Like that's sick. That is fucking sick. That is sick.
I think anyone with a brain, in my opinion, would know that she cannot get up to use that toilet, even if it's pulled up right next to the couch. She
Right.
can't even move her position. And a lot of people argue the teeth thing, that's not the parents being in denial. That feels like torture. That feels like you're keeping her alive to prolong some sort of torture. Like, this is no way for a parent to see their child live. But if that's the case, why would Sheila call 911 when Lacey died? Most people didn't even know the Fletchers had a daughter, and the ones who did, they thought that she moved away and started her own life. Nobody was suspicious of the Fletchers in any way. Why wouldn't they just dispose of her body, even bury her in the backyard? Who would know? One neighbor reported that someone might have forced Sheila to call the police.
Oh.
And just to preface, there is no proof about what I'm about to say.
What
But there's
the
a
fuck?
running theory based off of an allegation given by a third party that is not involved. So take it with a bottle of salt. Allegedly, Sheila didn't call 911 because Lacey's heart stopped and she wanted her to be saved or wanted the authorities to know that her daughter was dead. Allegedly, there was a neighbor who peeked through their window that last day on January 3rd, saw Lacey on the couch, and told the Fletchers, "What the hell is going on inside your house?"
So in 12 years, allegedly, this nosy neighbor was being nosy and saw Lacey in their vicinity and then said something? Because I would imagine a nosy neighbor would be nosy all the time. Unless they just kept their blinds closed for these 12 years. Like, what?
Like maybe they had come over to knock on the door and they didn't answer or something, or they had looked through the window when the Fletchers had gone away for New Year's. We don't know. But they threatened the Fletchers, if you don't call the cops, I'm going to call the cops. So Sheila was forced to call 911 and report Lacey being dead.
Bro, what?
The timing of that, though.
Yeah, that's what one of the neighbors had stated, that they were told. We have no idea if this is true.
Why is this nothing but theories and no facts but her, like, physical state?
Either way, one
And
netizen
also-
commented on this case and said, I think her parents are liars. And considering the lotions and other toiletries that were reportedly found near the sofa with clean clothes, I believe some sort of psychological torture was happening in conjunction with the prolonged starvation. And there's something else that bothers me. If the media is correct about Lacey and she was found almost completely nude, her top pulled up above her chest, why? Was this an attempt to further humiliate her? And as unlikely as it may sound given the circumstances, was she essayed? This is all speculation, of course. We will have to wait for the trial for the truth to come out. That is what a comment says. Now,
Okay.
other commentators say, I believe one Fletcher will turn on the other in hopes of not dying in prison. But I guess none of the theories really answer every question neatly. And again, they're just theories, just lingering questions. And another one is, how did the parents live with the smell? How did nobody smell it on them?
I said this within 20 minutes of this video. What?
So to try and answer that question, maybe the parents developed olfactory fatigue, nose blindness. It's when your nose gets so used to a certain smell that you can no longer smell it. Actually, we do this all the time. So it's like how your eyes can technically see your nose
Yeah, it's right here.
24/7,
Yeah.
but our brains block it out.
Well, now that you said that, I can see this motherfucker right here. It's like in my peripheral.
Our nose can smell our own house scent, but our nose blocks it out so
Right.
that if there's any other foreign scent, like a dangerous, so the toast is burning, we can smell it better instead of becoming overstimulated.
Right.
So maybe that can explain why the Fletchers were able to live with that smell. But what about the other people? How could they not smell it on them? Oddly, no one ever reported a smell coming from the Fletchers or the house. The Fletchers were finally arrested, and Dr. Bickham, the coroner, had fought to get a team of medics on standby outside the courtroom while pictures of Lacey were being viewed by the jury, just
my
in case. He
goodness.
said, the jurors are storekeepers, farmers. Many of them have never been exposed to this kind of stuff, so I need a medical team to be outside the courtroom. The DA stated that the photos left the courtroom speechless. He said, when I was presenting the case and showed the pictures and gave the timeline, the expressions of the grand jury was utter shock. Like the clock on the wall never moved again. There was just complete silence. Some jurors were gasping in horror. Some were just staring out in disbelief.
It's just like, what the fuck? How? Why? What? What are these people?
So this was not the actual trial. The jury were there to decide whether or not the parents would be charged with manslaughter, negligent homicide,
All
or
of it.
second-degree murder.
All of it.
Negligent homicide is when someone's criminally negligent behavior causes another person's death. But the requirement, I guess you could say, is that that person responsible failed to realize that their behavior was so dangerous that it could kill someone. Like the intent was not to kill. One of the most notable cases would be an Air Peru flight that crashed and killed 70 passengers and crew. To
gosh.
oversimplify it, pilots and crew realized that something was wrong while they were flying. They were way too low in altitude, but they didn't know that. So their reading instruments were off. And it's because a maintenance staff of this flight team had put adhesive tape on static ports of some of the instruments while they were cleaning and forgot to take it off. And these static ports are so important on telling the pilot how high up they were. So when they tried to do an emergency landing, they fell into the Pacific Ocean and they
Oh my goodness.
all passed. He was charged with negligent homicide.
Bro.
So it is ingrained in flight staff. Make sure nothing is covering the static ports. But because of his negligent behavior, people died. but he never had the intent. Like, he didn't have a manifesto in his house of like, I'm gonna kill people. This is the lightest of the 3 charges that were on the table for Lacey Fletcher's case.
Okay.
The sentencing for negligent homicide is typically 0 to 5 years. Manslaughter is very similar to negligent homicide in the sense that someone's behavior caused another person's death, but it is also done so without premeditation or intent.
Okay.
Meaning nobody sat there thinking, if I do action A, I'm gonna kill person B, so I need to do action A because my goal is to kill person B.
Okay.
The idea is more, oops, I did action A for whatever reason, and it ended up killing person B. So, for example, voluntary manslaughter, a good example would be if you come home and you see your wife in bed with another man. You grab a lamp, and in your fit of passion and anger, because you were provoked into this response, you slam the lamp down on the man's head, and he dies. So there is a level of risk, recklessness associated with manslaughter, but you weren't coming home on the drive thinking, I can't wait to kill this person. I need to kill this person. A lot of it comes from the provocation, like you were in a crime of passion almost. The sentencing for manslaughter is typically anywhere between 0 to 40 years.
Oh, shit.
And then the third charge that was being...
Damn. He said it was like the same as... 0 to 5 is way different than 0 to 40.
considered for this case, the harshest of the 3 was second-degree murder, which is intentional homicide that is not premeditated. If it's premeditated, it would be first-degree murder. An example of second-degree murder would be you're burglarizing someone's home and the homeowner comes home and you accidentally kill them. You didn't go in there with the intent to kill anyone. You're not trying to be a murderer. You're just trying to make some money, right? But you went there to rob the homeowner and then you killed them. You knew the risks associated with robbing someone. So to compare, for manslaughter, you come home, your wife's cheating on you, it's the heat of the moment. There's a shock of emotion that might have led you to do something. When you're burglarizing someone's house and the homeowner comes home, you can't argue, I was in the heat of the moment, I wasn't expecting them to come home. It's their home. You knew that there is a chance that they could come home.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the definition of
Second degree murder. It's murder, yeah. So, you know, there is intent, but there's not necessarily premeditation of like, we're going to go into their house, rob their valuables, and then kill them.
yeah.
Right. Now, the DA was fighting for second-degree murder charges, which a lot of people wanted to see first-degree murder, but I guess legally second-degree murder made the most sense, and it could lead to a life sentence. The DA argued with the jury, we don't treat animals or neglect even our pets in that way. If we have an animal in that condition, you take them to the vet. If you're not capable of providing the care for that pet, you get help. You can't say Lacey wasn't in pain. On murder, you have to have intent. Did they want to kill Lacey? I want to say, yeah, they wanted to kill her. Lacey hadn't seen a doctor in 20 years. The jury said they would be indicted and charged with second-degree murder.
Okay.
So the parents will be tried. They have pled not guilty, and it doesn't seem like there's a trial date set yet, but it does seem to be like it'll be sometime in 2024. We will keep an eye out on that. It's just, it's a lot. Both the Fletcher's bail were set at $300,000 each. They used a bondsman, which means they had to put up around 12% of that bail, so they would have needed $72,000 in cash to cover for the both of them.
How you walking out this motherfucker like that, bro? That's crazy.
Which they paid,
That's
and again,
crazy.
shows that if they really wanted to help Lacey, they could, to a degree, afford to help her. The couple's attorney, Stephen Moore, released a statement on behalf of the parents, and he said, they don't want to relive the pain of losing a child through the media. Yeah.
Wow.
They have been through a lot of heartache over the years. Anyone who has lost a child knows what it's
No, we not doing. No, you ain't gonna try pulling our heartstrings like that. Hell no.
like.
Oh my god.
Nah,
Don't
cuz,
even
nah,
start
go
on that.
ahead.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's even more triggering for parents to hear that.
All I saw were parents on Reddit, like, ready for blood.
Yeah.
The couple also went to post on Facebook in just one sentence, Mom and Dad love you so much, about Lacey's death. They never mentioned Lacey's passion for Disney, her favorite country song, the way she loved to be active and move her body or engage in sports. Nothing. One Redditor wrote, Lacey's parents horrify me. How could they allow this to happen? They insist that she chose this life. If so, she wasn't in her right mind to choose. They had a duty to help her and not stubbornly say, fine, there then until it became a living nightmare. That was absolutely evil in my opinion.
Yes.
If this was about pride, it's just as evil as if they tied her to the couch. If they restrained Lacey, it was sadism. It was still sadism even if they didn't restrain her, because empathy and love would soften their hearts to not allow Lacey to suffer and be degraded like that.
Exactly.
Other netizens just simply commented on this case. There is no excuse. There is no explanation. What are your thoughts on this? And if you're a parent, do you have any extra thoughts on what it's like to be a parent? Like, how can you see your child like that? Does it make sense to be in denial about something like this? Is the only viable theory that they just wanted to torture their only daughter? Please leave it in the comments, and please be safe. I will see you guys on Wednesday for the next episode.
Okay, I want to see something real quick. Because one, you said their trial date was, what, 2024? Hold on. We're going to see what happened over here. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. Send them up the river. As you can see, it says, pleaded no contest to a reduced charge and were sentenced to 20 years. 20 freaking years, bro. Wait, excuse me? Oh, they each received 40 with 20 years suspended, meaning they will serve 20 years followed by 5 years of supervised probation. Okay. I mean, shit, man. 20 years and they old as dirt. You would think that they would be in there for the rest of their neglectful ass lives. But again, like, it's just the fact that there's like so many theories to this and just mystery. And like people, like it's very, very heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and it's just disgusting on the parents' part. Like, it's just like, how can you, the audacity of two parents being responsible for the town's, like, just to answer the town's questions like Quora, and having the answers and being there for the town, but for your daughter, you just showed the complete opposite of care. And it's just like, you don't give a fuck. You give a fuck about these townspeople more than you give a fuck about your daughter, your only daughter. Like, come on, bro. Nah. They sent them up the river, and I think this is what, the first time in a while since we heard someone getting at least some type of proper consequences to this shit. Like, it's just like, yo, and it's just the fact that it's just still kind of a mystery. It just makes me feel uneasy. And rest in peace to Lacey, man. Rest in peace to Lacey Fletcher. You did not deserve that. You didn't deserve that. Nothing in my right mind or nobody's right mind would think that you deserve this. Like, it just, what the fuck? Like, bad shit always happens to, like, the seemingly greatest people. Like, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? It's like the only time bad shit happens to bad people is in movies. What the fuck, bro? What do you guys think? I mean, I have an idea what you guys are probably going to say, but no, bro. There's no excuse. There's no excuse.